Welcome everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome back to this week's episode of the weekly HO Scale News at a Recap for September 1st, 2025. Hope everyone had a nice Labor Day weekend if you're celebrating the holiday. If you're new to this series, this is where we take a look at a variety of product announcements and updates from various HO Scale manufacturers. As always, before we get started, do me a favor and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help me make a few dollars, so really appreciate it. Like the video if you enjoyed as well, and drop me a comment if you're excited about anything we talk about here, or if you just want to chat any new additions to your layout. Love talking with everybody. We'll go ahead and get started this week with Broadway Limited. And as you can see, Broadway Limited has put out their August 2025 flyer at the end of the month. They were planning to have new announcements this past Friday, but that has been pushed to this upcoming Friday, so stay tuned next week to catch those new announcements on the channel here. A little bit of a passenger car teaser. We'll see what that ends up being. I'm not quite sure. Seems like online the steam locomotive fantasy teaser might be a 2664 or something of the sort. Definitely something articulated. So stay tuned. We'll cover that when that comes up. Quick reminder of some upcoming BLI order deadlines. One in September, those N-scale challengers, and the rest, all HO scale, due at the end of October. All the heavyweight cars recently announced, and the two locomotives, the de-skirted GS4s and the 3460 class Santa Fe brass hybrids. Here's some product shots of that N-scale Challenger, in case you're interested in grabbing one of those. These look great. And some of the features here on this N-scale run. But moving back into HO scale, quick reminder about their most recent locomotive announcements, the de-skirted GS4s. We have some more detail shots. This is the Lark scheme. I think that looks very sharp. As well as details here on this model that reflects the transition era for Southern Pacific. And their second locomotive here, the Santa Fe 3460 class Hudsons, including the world record holder locomotive here at the start, number 3461, with the large Santa Fe heralds on the tender. They're also doing 3463 in its as delivered and modern appearance as well. And some fantasy locomotives, including this ornate fantasy paint scheme, as they call it. Sort of 1870s era. Very nice. They did do a quick recap of those announcements and those heavyweight business cars on their YouTube channel if you're interested in that. As well as putting out a video on those N-scale challengers and those locomotives as well. Nice note here from Ken. Quick project update though regarding those heavyweight business cars, specifically American Freedom Train sets for those. They were originally going to match the trucks to the Rapido Alco PAs, but they went ahead and decided to make that prototypical instead. So these are the updated renders for those cars with the truck color that will be on the final models. This nice light blue. That is the only edited artwork for any of the business cars, just those from the American Freedom Train version. A little bit of in the news if you'd like to check out reviews on YouTube from the Steam channel of the Conductor's Cub Big Boy and the GP35s that recently delivered. They'll also be at a pair of train shows. You can check them out in Maryland at the Great Scale Model Train Show in October, as well as Train Fest 2025 in Milwaukee. Here's an updated look at their delivery schedule. Got the consolidations coming sometime this month in September. Bunch of N-scale EMD motive power. The power car is supposed to be coming in October. And then the theater cars and the business cars following in the winter, as well as all their most recent announcements down below. Moving on to some Q&A, I'll just pick some of the interesting ones. Feel free to pause and take a look at anything in particular. Not looking like they're going to be making Strasbourg 90. It's a bit unfortunate, but maybe in the future. Of course, fill out their form online to suggest models like that. A little bit of a delay on the PRR S1s, unfortunately. They did put a little bit of a pause due to the tariff situation, which is still up in the air, as well as Frisco 1522. They are looking into making more of the generator cars for the UP Heritage Fleet. They're primarily focusing on the one-off cars right now for the Union Pacific Heritage Fleet, such as the generator cars or the business cars. They're looking to eventually make more of those Union Pacific standard business cars in the fleet, but right now mostly focusing on those special cars. Some N-scale models still in the works, lots in the pipeline sounds like. And mentioned down here, doesn't look like at the moment we'll get more UP business fleet, such as the domes or diners, but potentially down the line. And they still haven't revealed the next HO Scale Conductors Club locomotive that should be coming sometime this fall, so stay tuned for that as well. And they may also be making the SP Sunset business car, still potential in the design phase. But that's all we have here from Broadway Limited for this week and this month with their flyer. We'll go ahead and move on over to Rapido. And moving on to Rapido's newsletter, where we do have some new announcements to take a look at. Quick table of contents if you're interested in that we'll talk about, all in here. First up, some special announcements for the 250th anniversary of the US, the semiquincentennial. First up, we have a CF7 with a special livery, number 2526. Some nice features on that locomotive, as well as their Northeastern caboose, painted for Lehigh Valley 1776. Both of those have order deadlines of October 15th and December 15th, respectively. And moving on, here are some just from the factory shots of samples of their RS23s and S13 locomotives. Love the details on them. Tons of etch metal details, as you can see. They have said that the US orders for these are much higher than the Canadian orders, interestingly enough. And a little teaser, they will eventually be announcing the TEBUs, specifically for Southern Pacific primarily here. That's going to be an awesome announcement. Can't wait for those. I know many people have been asking about that after their most recent GP40 run. Quick reminder, the final order deadline for their GP9Us, including the mother slug sets, is coming up. Here are some pre-production samples that we've seen before as well. The order deadline for these models is October 15th, so you still have a bit of time. Some history and some prototype shots. And some more samples here. They look very, very nice. Saw most of those a few weeks ago when they came out on Facebook. Some prototype shots here of the slug and the models. Here's a quick list of the features, as well as all of the paint schemes on just the single units. You have a pretty good variety to pick from. And next up, the list of slug features. They are fully powered, just like the GP40s and slugs were. And these are all specific with their own unique details with each pair. So I'll give you a quick look at all of those. And Otter Valley Railroad is also doing their own special run of these as well. So here are those schemes. Just the single units, no mother slug sets from Otter Valley. And moving on to Rapido's new announcements. First up, the SW9s. This is actually a relaunch of these locomotives with a new order deadline of October 15th. They have added a few more schemes that we'll take a look at in just a second. Here are the production samples that they had before of these locomotives. They do look very nice, and some prototype shots mixed in as well. Rapido's doing the Santa Fe version accurately. Here's the Illinois Central on screen now, and then CP just below. See quite a bit of road-specific features. They also have a masterclass on these locomotives as well, available on their website with lots of prototype and historical information. Here's all the features on the models, as well as the schemes. Notice those big spark arresters there on Canadian National. I think this is going to be a really good run of these as well. They have also added these ones at the bottom, the industrial red and industrial yellow/black, as well as some special runs here from Otter Valley Railroad as well, the Serrano, Hamilton, and Buffalo, and that industrial blue at the top. Once again, pre-orders for these also due by October 15th. And next announcement are the Southern Pacific Economy baggage cars. These are the 66-B-2 model of these. They were teased a little bit ago. We saw some 3D samples, but now they are officially announced. Here's some details about the history of these cars as well. They did serve quite a long life. Here are some of the model underbody details, which look absolutely incredible. Rapido, well known for their underbody detail on all of their models. They're also offering them as equipped with generators in 2-car sets that they saw later in their service careers, and some unique roof details for those generator-equipped models. They do also have sound as well. Here's a Craig Walker photo of one of those baggage cars with a few arrows pointing to where that might be. Here's a full list of the features on these models as well. And here are the different paint schemes. Pretty much all Southern Pacific, and then we have a few Amtrak and an Alaska Railroad scheme. The Alaska model is powered with a generator, so it will have sound. And then the other models that do have sound as well are the Southern Pacific schemes, the General Service and Daylight schemes as well. There's currently no order deadline set for these cars quite yet. Looking to see what the interest is, and they'll go ahead and announce that deadline at a later date, so stay tuned. I'll cover that when that does come up. The next announcement and final one here for this newsletter is a new run of their Northeastern cabooses. That also includes the Lehigh Valley 1776 that we took a look at the beginning of this newsletter. Here are some of the first run of these cars. Nice shots of the underbody, of course. Here's a shot at the factory of the inner details of the car. Some nice tables and the cupola chairs. Here is that Lehigh Valley model in service. And the full list of features with the new underframe. 2 different versions of that underframe depending on the model. Broken up here in the full list of schemes. Primarily Lehigh Valley for this underframe, and the Reading and Northern closing us out, and the solid frame as well with the porthole and windows. This one also doesn't have an order deadline quite yet, so stay tuned and we'll cover that when that does come up, as these were just announced. And moving on to some shots outside their new Buffalo warehouse. Whether or not you agree with that sign is up to you. They're definitely up there in my top list. They also put out a few videos as well with the RS-23s, as well as how to pick up your GP40 just in case you drop it like Jason. The NSC ballast hoppers should also be on their way as well. Little unboxing on their channel. If you'd like to check that out. Some upcoming train shows. This upcoming weekend they'll be at the New Haven Railroad Historical and Technical Association's reunion if you'd like to stop by and check them out there. Otherwise they'll be at the Mid-Atlantic RPM meet, as well as the Colorado RPM meet. And on to one of my favorite sections, the arrival updates. This is a huge list this time. Tons of HS scale models pretty much dominating here. Picking a few of my favorites from the list. The GP40s arrived, absolutely amazing. You can check out my review if you're interested. The ballast hoppers and the SP Dome lounges, poking around to see where I'm going to buy 1 or 2 of those maybe. The Hawker Siddeley vans, might be saying that right, maybe it's Sidley. Everybody says it differently. Looking for my order of those as well, coming later this month potentially, or probably next month most likely. The Rio Grande steel riveted cabooses and the Super Continental line coaches running us out at the bottom, showing up in November most likely, so I'm excited for those as well. In any case, some new photos that we have seen some on the channel before. Here are those dome lounges. I'm looking at probably an SP in the daylight scheme, since it seems like the CP Selkirk will be quite hard to find. The Greenbrier coil cars, these look fantastic. Saw these last week or the week before. Some shots of the interior as well. Next up, the C36-7s for MP and Ferromex. And just behind it, the Burlington Northern C33-7. Can't forget about our N-scale friends, the gallery cars for Metra. They're doing some different schemes there. Looks like a very large speaker grille in the center on the underbody. Back into HO scale, some shots of their Super Continental line cars. I've got both of their 20th anniversary cars on pre-order, so I'm excited for these. I would like to eventually grab even more. The classic CN scheme and the modern executive CP scheme with the Selkirk dome car just behind off screen. Next up, the DODX flat cars. Saw these a few weeks ago as well. Those dome lounges are also coming in N scale, so here are some shots of that. Also looking great, very nice details. And that under frame. Also in N scale, a new run of F40 PH-2Ds is still in production phase, so here are some detailed shots of that. They look fantastic, as well as N scale bi-levels. Early test samples for both of those. But that's all we have here from Rapido for this week. We'll go ahead and hop on over quickly to Otter Valley Railroad. And quickly, just to shout out Otter Valley Railroad, as they're also doing another custom run of GP40s from Rapido. These are CN schemes. They have 3 different ones here. The 9316, 9313, and 9312. These are estimated to deliver in late January, early February of 2026. So just a heads up for you, more Rapido models. Love the GP40s from them. Special run here from OVR. And moving on to the ScaleTrains newsletter from this past week. Quick reminder about their discount depot. You are able to grab models that have been refurbished by ScaleTrains for a bit of a discount. They have a bunch of Class J's if you're interested. Looks like those are still available, as well as some other models, so that's always refreshing. So take a look if you're interested in some of those at a discount. ES44s now in stock, including the Ferromex Zebras. Some history on that scheme. And the grates over the cab windows, as well as the KCS Southern Bells. That does say N scale, still in HO scale here. Here's a quick reminder of all the road names and paint schemes now in stock in the next run of their CSX Heritage paint schemes. We are still waiting for a couple from the factory that we're supposed to deliver with this run, as well as all the Norfolk Southern Heritage units, all the BNSF 25th Heritage units, as well as the X-City Rail unit for CN that I picked up as well. Back in N scale though, they do have AC 4400 CWs for Ferromex in stock with a couple of different schemes. Here's a quick look at all of those that are in this run that recently delivered. They were also at the Tex-Mex train show in Austin. Nice shout out here about one of the modelers there, traveling all the way up from Mexico to be there, and some of the work that he's been doing. So that's awesome. Some history about him as well. He's met the team a few times, so very interested to continue to bring everybody together in the hobby. They also put out a nice video about the Silverside gondolas on the Saluda grade if you're interested in checking that out. Those models are available for pre-order in their Operator series if you're interested. A couple different paint schemes, but all Norfolk Southern PS Silverside coal gondolas. Here's the full list of those different paint schemes available still for pre-order. Those are coming in both HO and N scale. If you'd like to buy some Labelle lubricant from ScaleTrains, they offer that if you'd like to grab that directly from them. Pretty well known in the industry. And another shout out of more Gevos in stock that include the CSX Pride in Service units, so all 3 of those. Here are some prototype shots of those units, looking very nice. And some of their road number and road name specific details, as well as all of those, once again, that have recently delivered. Few more stops left on ScaleTrains' road trip as well, coming up in North and South Carolina. If you're in the area, go ahead, check them out, stop by at all of those locations and dates. The billing update here for these models, the shipment was delayed, so last week's update as well was a little incorrect. These should bill this upcoming week, so stay tuned if you're looking for an invoice directly from ScaleTrains on any of these models. Quick reminder of their Labor Day hours, but that's all we have here from them this week. We'll go ahead and move on over to Athearn. And moving on to Athearn's Dispatcher, their newsletter from the past week. Quick reminder that their May-June pre-orders were opened until mid-September. Here are some shoutouts of some of those models from a previous run shown of the MP15 ACs. Those are also available for pre-order still. We took a look at all those schemes a few weeks ago and months ago when those were originally announced, so I don't want to spend too much time here. That also includes the Genesis F45s, new run of those coming, as well as the standard Athearn line SD40-2s. There are a ton of them in this release, so you might have your road name covered. That's the Canadian version of the BNSF units that they bought from CN. Some models now in stock though, if you'd like to grab some right now, include the clay slurry tank cars in HO scale. N-scale covered hoppers, an intercity bus in N-scale, and an ice bunker reefer. We've got HO scale 48-foot containers. Lots of schemes there available, as well as the PS 4740s. A bunch of co-op schemes there in that run. N-scale coal porters. They did talk about the N-scale PS2 3-bay hoppers on their Train Tuesday. If you're interested, that's over on their YouTube channel. Some details of that. And some product development shots of their Dash 9s. Some new samples that they received from the factory, including some Genesee and Wyoming units. So very nice to see those moving along as well. Here's some of the details there. Should be arriving in February of 2026. They were announced back in late 2023, so it's been a while for these units. Long overdue for an update, but still in the pipeline. But that's all here we have from Athearn for this week. We'll go ahead and move on over to Walthers. And moving on to Walthers and their e-update for this week. Quick reminder, pre-orders still available for their 3-bay covered hoppers to fill out your BNSF grain train or your worm. Got a few options there for you. In stock now are some Viewliner sleepers in their proto line, so fully lit. Very nice details on these. Sounds like they are selling out a bit quickly though, so look into that sooner rather than later if you're interested. They also have proto scale test cars available for pre-order, recently announced as well with some Amtrak licensed schemes shouted out. Very interesting model that not many manufacturers have done so far. And a reminder that their mystery boxes are now available once again. I've seen some people purchasing them as well. Haven't had time to check out what's been coming in those, but seems like a good variety from the last run. So let me know if you get anything interesting in this next run of mystery boxes. Also a reminder of their Titans of Steel trading card game. All the details are on their website. There's a bunch in there, so go ahead and check that out if you're interested as well. Shout out here from Oxford Diecast for a 1960 Ford Fairlane. If you'd like to grab some more automobiles, this Police Interceptor as well. And if you'd like to grab some Bachmann chemical tank cars from Walthers directly, you can do so. They have those in stock. But that's all we have here from Walthers for this week. We'll go ahead and check out Cardinal River Models. And moving on to Cardinal River Models, we have some new samples of their Nickel Plate Road 765 Berkshire. This is the 2020s excursion version without the Mars light. So lots of CAD renders to take a look at here. Some more modern electrical gear and the aux connections to the auxiliary water tender that they're also making as well. We took a look at those CAD models last week. Nice side view of the model. Tons of details. They do say the roller bearings on the side rods will be functional, which is a neat detail to include. Here's a top-down shot. The tread is accurate for what that model actually has in real life. Very nice details all around. Have all the rivets modeled here in the CAD, of course. I think this is going to be a big hit when it does deliver. They're still available for pre-order on their website if you're interested. Here's something that's very interesting as well. This is their drawbar. You'll notice there are 3 different holes on the right that allows you to space the locomotive and the tender at your desired distance. If you have smaller radius track, you can space them farther apart. Or if you have some very nice large curves, you can bring them prototypically close together. All these CAD renders show the model with the drawbar at its closest setting, which I do think is a good way to present it, because it looks the most accurate. It looks very nice in these renders. Another close-up shot of the side here. Every pipe pretty much has its own spot where it's going to, so that's really cool. Really neat to see more renders. Love seeing new manufacturers enter the industry, especially with a model that's looking so far like it's going to be a winner. But that's all here we have from Cardinal River Models for this week. We'll go ahead and check out Sunset Models' third rail next. And moving on over to what's really the Third and Townsend Models newsletter, which covers both Sunset Models primarily in O-scale and Golden Gate Depot primarily in HO scale. Lots of O-scale models have arrived, bolded there in the paragraph below if you're interested in those or have those coming in O-scale. However, we'll focus on HO scale here. Southern Pacific subs and Harrimans, the second run of these have been pushed back with an order deadline of September 14th now. We looked at all of the schemes a few weeks ago as well if you're interested, or check them out on their website. Really cool model that we'll see should be delivering in January of 2026. They'll only be building as many models as they have pre-orders for that car. They have opened individual orders for the individual cars for their Shasta Daylight, the 1949 version for Southern Pacific. If you would like to grab any of those individually instead of the full set, that's now an option for you. And some updates, they are now working on the Southern Pacific head-end baggage and RPOs after most of that design work has finished with the Harrimans, so that's really neat. We'll get a new Southern Pacific car coming from them. They are hoping to deliver those in fall of 2026. Just like the HON3 Rio Grande passenger cars announced as well a few weeks ago. Been in the design phase for a while. Some samples you can see on the left there. We talked about all of those a few weeks ago as well when we covered them for the first time on the channel. Really cool to see more HON3 make it into the industry. But moving on to a new HO scale announcement, the Norfolk Western M Class 480 Mollies. This will be a brass locomotive, which is really sweet to see even more of that make its way into the market. They do need 50 reservations or pre-orders to go ahead and produce this model, so if you are interested in grabbing one, go ahead and reach out and get your pre-order in with them. They have a few different locomotives they're looking to make in this run, a few different roads as well as some different road numbers shown off there in the list. They will be offered with your choice of DCC and sound, either with Tsunami 2, Blue Nami, or DCC Ready if you're interested in that. They are looking for a spring-summer 2026 delivery, so fairly soon, if you would like to go ahead and get your pre-orders in and make this project happen. But that's all I have for you in terms of news and updates for this week. I do hope you enjoyed. As always, if you made it this far, please consider subscribing. It is completely free and does help me make a few dollars, so thank you very much. Like the video if you enjoyed as well, or just want to help out the algorithm, and drop me a comment if you're excited about anything we talked about here this week, or if you just want to chat. And of course, if I missed anything, so that I can go ahead and cover it next week. But thanks again, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.